everyone, I'm Lynn Prowse-Bishop and welcome to the Virtual Business Show, What You Need to Know. The show covers topics of interest to virtual assistants as well as those in small business and people who may want to work as a VA or hire the services of one. In our last episode, we looked at how to get clients and where to go to find them. But what about getting them to commit? In this episode, we're going to be looking at actually keeping clients. A big question that I'm often asked by new VAs is, how do I get a potential client to actually sign? And after 10 years, I still don't have the magic solution to this. I honestly don't believe that you can, just like we can't make people do anything in any other area of our lives. All you can really do is reiterate the value that you bring, be open, available, and genuinely helpful, make suggestions, and keep front of mind with regular non-selling contact. So, for example, like say a newsletter. The clients who see the benefit of your services and how they can use you will snap it up, and these are the clients for you. Don't waste your time trying to convince people who aren't likely to give you the work. Even now, I've got a situation with a potential client who keeps contacting me periodically, telling me he sees how useful my services would be, but just isn't sure where he can use me. I struggle to understand his business, particularly given that I'm not working with him yet, and he struggles to explain it to me. I've made suggestions where I think I can help him, but honestly, if he doesn't have a clear picture of what he does to the point, where he can articulate it to me, then how can I have a clear picture of what I can do for him? In these situations, when you've done all you can, you just have to step back and say, I'm here when you're ready. There will be people out there you just can't help, and sometimes that's the hardest thing to accept. You're not a business coach? Perhaps that's what they need. After all this time, the one thing that I can tell you is there is no magic way to get a client to sign. Just explain your service and the value that you bring, help them to understand that, make suggestions where you can, and remain front of mind. But let's assume now that you actually have a handful of clients. The trick now is to actually keep them. So let's work from the simple to the more complex. The majority of virtual assistants have come from backgrounds where they worked as secretaries, receptionists, PAs, or exec assistants. These are by definition service roles, but unfortunately many VAs and small business owners generally forget the service aspect of their business once they have clients signed. We're in a service industry. It's imperative that you remember that. You are providing a service, and as such your clients are not a right but a gift, and you should always treat them as such. Remember that service is a verb. You actually have to do something to serve. Keep in mind how you like to be treated when you're a customer, and be sure that you treat your clients that way. Everyone likes to feel special and like the most important client that you have. Treat all of your clients this way. Always sound happy to hear from them, even if you're busy beyond belief and working on a deadline for someone else. My steps for keeping clients that we'll go through are to have a database, regular contact, think about your mentality to provide exceptional work product, and your relationship marketing, which will cover things like remembering dates and a newsletter. The first step is to always have a database of your clients. Now, this just needs to have things like a name, company name, spouse, children, address, contact phone numbers, email, website, and the date they signed with you. That'll be the anniversary date. If you have their birthday, even better. You don't have to ask them for that up front. Eventually, every client gives away their birthday. Client contact means taking care of your clients. Timely responses to emails is probably the easiest way to show that you care about them. Endeavour to reply to their emails immediately, within 24 hours at most. I think 48 hours is too long, though I have seen some VAs who indicate that they'll get back to clients within 48 hours. I don't like being kept waiting when I've asked a question, and you can bet that your clients don't like it either. If they email you with a question and you can't give them an answer immediately, drop them a quick note simply saying, let me get back to you with a better response in the next 24 hours, but I wanted to let you know that I've received your email and I'm on it. There is nothing worse than sitting around not knowing if an email made it through to someone. Actually, yes, there is. It's being a client and having to follow up again with your VA to check that the email went through. Do not use autoresponders for anything other than advising that you're on leave or away from your office for an extended period. And I mean the ones that say your email is important to us. We've received it into our system and someone will get back to you in the next 48 hours. That's not telling them their email is important. important to you, you'd have responded to it immediately if it was. Respond to client contacts as individuals. They've done so to you, and they're not going to appreciate being treated as one of the herd. Your mentality is also very important. Now, unfortunately, many clients are still in the employer-employee mindset, and they'll often treat you as if you're their employee. Now, this usually operates as, well, I pay you, so that's reward enough. And you can often feel a little bit disillusioned and underappreciated. Don't fall into that trap. Keep reminding yourself that you're not an employee, but a business owner, and this means being grateful for your clients because they're keeping your business ticking over. It also means taking responsibility for the relationship with your client. You're responsible for that relationship, not the other way around. So this is going to mean a couple of things. First up, it's your responsibility to keep in touch with them. Keep in regular communication when you're working on a project so that they know how things are going. Don't keep them in the dark, and don't expect them to follow up with you. They never should. Secondly, if things are becoming a little bit kind of edgy, take some time to give them a quick ring and find out how things are going, and whether there's anything else that you could be doing to help ease their burden. Often there's something they've been moving to the too hard basket, and you might be just what they need to get it moving, and they just simply didn't think to pass it on to you. Thirdly, listen to their needs. Don't second guess what they want. Ask them. And if you can't help them out, find someone who can and manage the project team for them. Next, always give your clients advance notice if you're going on leave or won't be available on a particular day. There's no need to let them know what you're actually doing, just telling them that you'll be unavailable on a certain day or between a certain time. That should be enough. If they ask what you're doing and you don't want to actually tell them, you just say that you have a prior commitment. And finally, don't think that you have to jump immediately your client snaps their fingers and asks you to do something for them. If their requests are always last minute or urgent, it's time to sit down and help them with time management. You can't run your business with constant time critical deadlines, and you need to communicate this to your clients so they understand that you've got other commitments just like they do. That helps both of you get out of this employer-employee mindset. It's important that you show an interest in your client's business. Get to know more about what they do, how they operate, what sorts of clients they have, and so on. If you don't understand something they do, ask them. People love talking about themselves, and they're going to appreciate your interest in what they do. You'll be making them feel important and at the same time getting a better idea of areas that you can help them in that they may not have even thought of yet. Be aware of their tone. If they sound a little bit stressed or kind of off, take the time to offer an ear. As a personal assistant, this is precisely what you'd have done for a boss. Some clients like to know there's a confidential person on the other end of the line who's willing to just hear them vent and it's not going to appear on Facebook. From time to time, you may end up with an unhappy client. Now, taking responsibility for the relationship means that you also need to take responsibility for if they're not happy. Approach them with a sincere effort. Figure out what went wrong. Be prepared to explain your actions, but without being defensive. Don't kind of dance around the issue. Give them an opportunity to voice their grievance with you. Oftentimes they just want you to hear them. And keep your ego out of it as much as you can. Again, don't get defensive. You're responsible for the relationship, which means you need to take responsibility for what's gone wrong, whether you agree with it or not. They may not be wanting to attack you personally, and it may sound like they are, and it's difficult to not be defensive, but just explain why things were done, and often it can be just a miscommunication. But take that responsibility to try and change them from an unhappy client back into a happy one. All this is going to help your client to see you as an equal, not as an employee, and they'll then respect your time and the value that you bring to the relationship. Now, I mentioned exceptional work product. Attention to detail is paramount. Ensure that work you return to clients is of the highest standard, even if it's a first draft. You want them to have the least amount of work to do when they get the job back from you. Proofread, and proofread again. Make sure you don't send work back that has silly mistakes in it. My personal mantra with client work is to under-promise and over-deliver. I will always quote work turnaround a little bit longer than I know I can get it back for clients, but they're always pleasantly surprised when the work comes back faster than I've initially indicated it will, and this makes them feel important. Of course, the flip side to this is that they can begin to have unrealistic expectations of your turnaround once they get used to you being faster than you quoted. Turnaround should always be at your discretion. If the client wants something back more urgently than your standard turnaround, you can charge them a premium or rush rate for the work. Be sure that this is communicated to them at the outset of the relationship and included in your contract so that there's no surprises. If a client says to me that they want something back same day, I always indicate that I can do it, but it's twice the standard rate, which is just my policy. Other VAs might charge 25%, 50%, or some other premium. So that reminds them again at the time of giving me the work that it's going to cost them a bit more, and it gives them the opportunity to change their mind. And it's amazing how quickly urgent work becomes not so urgent when they're reminded of that additional fee. Now, this serves as that gentle reminder again to them, which reinforces that level playing field of your relationship. Finally, relationship marketing is most important, and you don't need a marketing degree to do it. All it means is the nice stuff. Now, because you followed step 1 and have put that database together of your clients as you sign them with their relevant details, transfer the anniversary date into your calendaring program. Or if you use a database program that gives you alerts, set those up so that a few days before the anniversary date you can contact the client. I send my clients a small gift every year on our anniversary with a little note with something along the lines of "Thanks so much for partnering with us for another year. We really appreciate your support in our relationship with you." They always say, "Oh, you shouldn't have done that," really unnecessarily, but just do it anyway. Remember, you're responsible for the relationship. For smaller clients, I might just send a card, either handwritten or an e-card. Now, there are loads of places online where you can find appropriate gifts. Gift baskets are always good. Who doesn't love getting baskets of goodies? There are lots of places online who can put these together for you. Once you get to know your clients well, you can send gifts they would really appreciate. One client of mine is technology-based, but he has a bit of a green conscience. So one year I sent him a notebook made from a recycled 5¼ inch floppy. Those were actually the ones that replaced the 3.5-inch discs that later became CDs and now are USB sticks. So some of you may not know what they look like, but they were kind of this big floppy disk thing. And it made a very, very interesting gift for the client. Make a note in your database what you've given them, because as the years roll by, you don't want to be doubling up sending them the same gift. Now, it's important here to get to really know your clients well. There's no point sending chocolate if they're diabetic or beer or wine if they don't drink. These gifts should not be promotion of your business. When a client signs up with you, you can send them a thank you gift that might include your logo or business details, so like a coaster or coffee cup or pen or whatever marketing collateral that you have. But anything that thanks them for continuing their business should be something that's not self-promotional and preferably something that they will find valuable or useful. So again, you need to get to know them well in order to know what to send. You can also send gift cards, of course, gift vouchers to different things. Many online organisations now have gift cards that you can select an amount and have it sent to your client, and they can then choose for themselves something that they might like. I'll also send a seasonal gift in December to my major clients. Some of my clients don't celebrate Christmas, so I tend to keep it secular. And I always send a card or an e-card or an email on their birthday. Now, if you see something in print or hear something at a conference or read something online that you think might be useful to your client, send them the details. They'll appreciate that you thought about them outside of special dates and outside of income-generating activity. And then stay in regular contact. This can be via a newsletter, for example, so it may only be 4 times a year or as regularly as once a month, but ensure that your newsletter isn't just selling your services, but includes some interesting information that will be of use to your clients and their business. They don't need to know about working with a virtual assistant because they already are. Of course, if your newsletter is also going to contacts, not just clients, then you can include links to working with VAs or client testimonials from time to time because your client may forward them on to people that they know. A regular newsletter also serves to keep you front of mind for contacts who maybe haven't signed with you yet. You want to become known as a source of useful information, not just someone who begs for work constantly or is constantly pushing what they can do. If you add a service to your skill set, be sure to let them know, of course. They might not need it, but they will no doubt come across someone in their travels who does. When clients feel valued and appreciated and important, they like the person who made them feel that way, you, and that will turn them into your best source of new clients, advocates, and referrers. I wanted to make one final comment about pro bono or free work. I'm often asked to do work for free for some contacts. Contracted clients obviously never ask this, but I have a number of colleagues and contacts who have asked if I can do something for them, and they aren't always in a position to pay. If it's something in my skill set, I always say yes, but always on the basis that it's worked around my paying work, and I always ensure my details are included somewhere on the work I send back to them. Now, sometimes these contacts have given me their services in return for free if I needed them, but always they refer me to others they know who do become paying clients. I'm a great believer in pay it forward. I believe it's so important to have a reputation as someone who is helpful and always ready with either the answer or a way of finding it out, so you become the source. And one final note, have an abundance mentality. If you act like a successful business owner and really believe you are, it will come to you. I have never said I have a full client load, and if a client asks me whether I can take on more clients, I always say yes. It's my responsibility to ensure I can subcontract jobs out when I need to. But you need to ensure you have things in place for when your business grows, because let's face it, you do want your business to grow. If you get incredibly busy and stop marketing, you will end up in a situation where clients drop off and you have no new ones to replace them with. So continue to market, continue to build your business, and use your contacts and networks to get the work done. I'm Lynn Prowse-Bishop, and this has been the Virtual Business Show. If you have any comments to make on today's episode, please feel free to do so by visiting execstress.com and follow the links to our show comments form. Until next time, thanks so much for listening.